On this episode of Delivering Marketing Joy, we talk with Kevin Walsh from Showdown Displays, and he tells us about how you can take a negative and turn it into a positive in the customer relationship. What's up? Hey there, and welcome to a brand new edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hasseman, and joining me today is another industry rock star. So love it when I get to have new guests on the show. Kevin Walsh, who is a good friend of mine and president of Showdown Displays. Kevin, thanks so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Kirby, thanks for having me today. We've been friends for a number of years. It's nice that we can actually share this online now.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, you know, it's funny, Showdown Displays certainly in the business of signs, and our whole industry is in the business of marketing. Yet, I always think it's interesting that we're all always looking for ways to grow our own businesses. So what are some ways that you at Showdown have worked to grow your business, and what have been the best strategies for you guys?
Well, thank you for the question. I'll tell you, I look at it two different ways. One is Showdown focuses its efforts. I find I've been in the promotional products industry now for over 30 years. And one of the things that surprises me the most is experts in a category tend to look across the fence at other categories and see greener pastures. As a result, they start to take on product categories, services, complexities that they never really entered the business doing, and as a result, aren't delivering quite the same joy that they did in their own category. One of the things I think Showdown does extraordinarily well is we recognize our swim lane. And our swim lane is portable, lightweight, and temporary signage. We have customers come and ask us all the time for, can you make fixed signage, and can you do this, and you can do that? And the hardest thing in sales really is often to say no. Yeah. But I find that when you say no, you gain a level of respect of what it is that you are an expert in and what you're not. And I think that has been one of the areas that has helped Showdown really on that. The second part I would say is, well, we work each and every day to create distinction for the Showdown brand. And I don't think there's any better example of that than Dash, the Showdown mascot. And having Dash appear at PPAI or ASI Orlando or ASI Fort Worth most recently gives a personification of that silent partnership that we have with our distributor partners and how we can help them to grow their business. So staying focused and creating a memorable experience are two ways that we at Showdown like to look at how we can help grow our business.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'll be honest with you, as a distributor, I really struggle with the idea of saying no. I want to be that solution for everybody. I think a lot of distributors are like that. So I admire people who really can stay in their swim lane, like you said. So kudos to you on that.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is. It's really hard. So, you know, one of the things I know is we all want every transaction to be perfect, right? But the other thing I do know is mistakes happen for all of us. So how can a business use these challenges to further grow relationship and sales? Let me ask the question again, Kevin. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that. You cut out there for a moment, Kirby.
Yeah, no problem. So mistakes happen in business. They just do. So how can businesses use these challenges to further grow their relationships and sales?
A great question, actually. And one of the fundamental premises of the Showdown experience is our on-target guarantee. And I don't want to turn this into a commercial. That's not what it's intended for. But really, what the on-target guarantee is all about is how would we expect to be treated by one of our vendors if something went wrong? And I think when something goes wrong, the worst thing any vendor or distributor can do is create blame, and increase the tension. Because really, at the end of the day, we all just want a resolution for that. Yeah. But our on-target guarantee at Showdown enables anyone throughout the organization, frontline customer service associates, all the way up to myself, president, to do whatever it's going to take to make sure that customer and client interaction ends in a delightful experience. We all have mistakes. How we recover from them is really where that transcends being a supplier and into a partnership.
Yeah.
And we like to believe by having that on-target guarantee and having that approach that doesn't require approvals, it's empowerment for our sales associates, our customer care associates, that then builds at the customer level that, wow, you know what, that's what I would have to do for my client. So thank you for taking care of me in that same fashion. So, you know, treat people how you'd like to be treated. It's the golden rule.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will tell you, Kevin, I asked the question for a reason, right? And you know that, is that we had an experience like this where we missed a deadline. And you guys were so gracious, and it was so refreshing, quite honestly, that it changed, I think, our relationship with you, and it changed for the better over a mistake. And I think so many times, I talk to my team all the time. I'm like, everybody looks good when things are going right. Like, so it's when things go wrong that we really have the chance to separate ourselves. So kudos on that.
Thank you for that. I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, absolutely. Final question for you. So business today is changing faster than ever, right? Between decorating, shipping, the promotion of business. How do you stay on top of things?
But personally or as a business, I guess I would ask for some clarification.
No, it's a great question. So I would say personally, how are you trying to stay on top of trends?
So I spend a considerable amount of time traveling, and many of you and your viewers would have seen me at trade shows from within our industry, from PPAI, ASI, the local associations and the like. But I also spend a fair amount of time outside of our industry in what I would consider to be adjacent channels that can help contribute to what we're offering to the promotional space. Places like Global Shop or Euro Shop, which is the European version of that. SGIA, which is the printing industry, or PIA, which is the printing industries of America. So there are all a host of areas where you can pick up little tidbits that can help you to be successful in our channel if you're able to translate that in the right fashion. We're coming up on a show here at the end of February, which many of your viewers probably have not been to, but it's called the Exhibitor Show. And the Exhibitor Show is actually a trade show about trade shows, if you can believe that actually exists. But it's also one of the places where some of the newest technologies will be debuted that can then be transmitted and integrated into other channels and other usage. And that's often where we at Showdown pick up some of the trends that we want to then translate and bring to the promotional products industry. So I would say it's a lot of firsthand experience. I read a lot of articles as well, but firsthand experience in traveling to other channels to see how we might be able to translate those use cases or products into something that we could do here in Showdown for the promotional industry.
No, that's super interesting. I think I've heard other people say, you know, they look at retail or whatever, but I like that. I thought of going into other industries to see what the trends are. So that's really cool. Well, hey, you've answered my 3 questions. I give everybody a chance to ask me one question. Do you have one for me?
Oh, I have one for you. Are you ready?
I hope.
Well, it's a word that we're all dealing with. It's a lifestyle we're all dealing with. And my question to you is in this Amazon environment that we all live in today, it's the expectation that it's going to show up tomorrow. How would you look at suppliers and distributors partnering together to offer a better value equation than what clearly most consumers say, geez, I order it at 5 and it's there tomorrow and I don't have to worry about its free shipping because I'm Prime?
Yeah, right. No, it's a great question, Kevin. So I think, and I've been saying this for a while, I believe that our industry is in the process of going into 2 directions. One is the price direction. Nothing wrong with that. Whether they're online or they're face-to-face, but the way they compete is to try and compete sort of with Amazon. They're going to be the best price. They're going to do it the quickest, the cheapest, the fastest, all that sort of thing. For me and my business, that's a dangerous model. I don't know that I would compete well in that. And then I think the other way to compete in today's world is to be more of an agency model. And so in answer to your question, I think that using the P word, that partnership word, being more agency style from the beginning, from supplier to distributor, I think that when you add more value, you can build in more the price, quite frankly, because there's value to justify it. And so I think that for us, the suppliers that we're enjoying working with the most are obviously going to get back to us. They're going to do all the foundational stuff. The price is right, they ship on time, but it's the ones who I can come to and say, hey, we're working on this project for this client. Here's the creative. How do we make the end user look like a rock star? Those are the ones that I think you're competing with Amazon, but in a totally different way. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think you touch on a very important portion of that is adding value through creative.
Yeah.
If it really is shopping for a better, less expensive pen, it's going to be hard to add value in that. But if they're looking for a creative solution to launching their brand or product or having a creative sales meeting that's going to have their team members engaged, I think that's where the distributors can offer a tremendous amount of value. And if they leverage the resources that suppliers like Showdown have available and the expertise that they have available to help you out in those, you can really set yourself apart.
Yeah, and I think it's incumbent upon the distributor too to get to the front end of the conversation, because where price and just all that becomes is when you get to the very end of the conversation and they're like, oh no, I need a table cover. And it's that, then it's just like, who can get it to me the fastest and the cheapest? You want to be on the front end of that conversation, so you're having discussion of the entire marketing plan, and then you can add real value. So that's sort of my take.
Agreed. You're spot on.
Thanks,
nice job.
Well, hey, thank you, Kevin. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy guy, and we'll have to do it again sometime.
My pleasure.
Cool. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.